I get NordVPN on my.
This video is not sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Welcome to the Bible in 1 Year podcast, brought to you by Two Brits and a Bible. If you like the idea of a casual yet meaningful chat about the Bible with a couple of mates, listen in. Something here could be good for you.
Today's day 154, covering Job 8, 9, and 10. If you need a brief overview of those chapters, they're in the description. All right. So we've got some faithful listeners, don't we?
Yeah, proper faithful listeners. Like every day, as soon as an episode is released, it's like, boom, a couple of people that are like, it's just been straight downloaded immediately. So huge shout out and thanks to those folks. And please reach out, get in touch, whether it's emailing 2britsbible@gmail.com, whether it's Insta at 2brits and a Bible, Facebook, or just stalk one of us and show up on our doorstep. Whatever it is. More likely for you because one of them's in the States and the other ones are in England. So, but yeah.
That's harder for, unless they're using a VPN or something. This video is not sponsored by ExpressVPN.
I get NordVPN on my paid ad.
Oh, nice. But anyway, we appreciate you. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, learn what we're doing well, what we could do even better. But most importantly, we hope you get your head in the Bible.
Right. We could even get some of these folks in on the Sharpen Your Sword series in due course. Yeah. In fact, I had someone reach out to us. I'm not sure if you'd seen. There's a girl from Austin who's been paying attention on some level or not. But I was like, let's get you on a Sharpen Your Sword at some point. We've got a few books, but why not, eh?
Yeah. No, I know you told me about that, so that's interesting. All right, let's dive into some Job. So I'm to kick off today with Job 8:3. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? So it's such a huge, important theological question. And obviously he never, ever does. He never perverts justice. He never perverts what's right. He is 100% justice. He is justice, right? And love and mercy. So that's one thing that over the next few days gets me cringing about Job just a little bit, is the fact he's like, I'm righteous, I'm perfect, I just need to speak to the manager, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like he's great. What?
Job's a bit of a Karen, isn't he?
Job is a Karen, yeah.
Sorry, Karen's out there.
Yeah, no, but you're right, the stereotype. Anyway, including my own mother, Karen. Anyway, when that happened, I was like, oh, gee. Anyway, my mum is not a Karen, is the funny thing.
She's the opposite of a Karen, isn't she?
She's the anti-Karen, even though her name is literally Karen. But anyway, I just, again, it's the gospel, right? We do deserve to burn in hell because we are not righteous. We fall short of the glory of God. Thank God for Jesus cloaking us in his righteousness. Otherwise, not going to happen, mate.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's proper true. I like that. That's the kind of thing that I've pulled out of a lot of Job in the last few days, really, is it's kind of, as we were chatting about a minute ago, I kind of have to take everything with a pinch of salt because his friends have this not entirely wise outlook on what they're suggesting, but then Job has a very sort of self-centered, like you said, self-righteous way of his coming at it. And so a lot of it is like, it's tricky to pull out stuff in here, which is really can be taken at face value. A lot of it has to be taken with a bit of a pinch of salt, but at the same time, we can use that and learn it in our own experience, because literally just after that, where it's saying, when your children have sinned against them, he gave them over to the penalty of sin. It's like, well, that's not how it works. Like, it's not, God isn't you sinned, bang, here's your consequence. Like, right. Grand scheme, yes, it is, but that's a bigger, And then it's then saying afterwards, like, if you now, if you plead with the Almighty and you're pure, he will rouse himself on your behalf and restore your prosperous state. It's like, he's not a vending machine God. I don't know if I've used that term on here before, but I love that logic of like, I put in a prayer, here's what I get out of it. I put in bad coins, I get crap back out again, whatever. Yep. But the thing that I like straight out of that is then immediately there's this like prophecy. So in 8:7, your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be, which actually then comes to fruition further down the road. So I love that in this kind of, no, that's not really how it works. There's this bang little bit of unintentional prophecy.
And I suppose that is really our understanding of God too, right? Like what we're seeing in them is really a reflection of ourselves, because none of us have a perfect understanding of God, because none of us can. So when we're sort of like going through this, like you're saying, we're like, oh, well, that doesn't seem right, but oh, maybe this bit's right. And oh, candy. We are ultimately seeing a reflection of us, and the self-righteousness of Job we see in ourselves, I'm sure, and the misguided like ideas on God. Definitely, we have some of those ourselves, and that's why it's so important to pick up the Bible and get reading. Honestly, Job 8:9. We were born only yesterday and know nothing, and our days on earth but a shadow. I guess that's kind of like what I'm saying, really. Like, we have such a limited time here to even get our head around what's going on, and that's why so much of it is faith in Jesus, right? Because even if we spend our lives dedicated to understanding Bible, we'll never understand it fully. It's not possible for a human to do that.
Yeah,
In 80 years, you know.
for sure.
I'm a house father, so
Absolutely. I cracked on a little bit as well, then into 8 verse 13 and 14. Such is the destiny of all who forget God. So perishes the hope of the godless. What they trust in is fragile. What they rely on is a spider's web. And I just love the visualization of that, of people who don't have God, the stuff that they are putting their trust in and hoping onto and clinging onto can just fall apart in an instant, as opposed to being able to rely on God through thick and thin.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. That's absolutely right. And I, again, love the imagery like you. I got one more in 8, and then I've got some in 9, and then I got nothing in 10, disappointingly, but you'll have to bring it home with that. But your enemies will be clothed in shame, and the tents of the wicked will be no more. Job 8:22. And I just said, ultimately, that is exactly right. You were talking about the prophecy, some of this being prophetic, and that's another bit of prophecy, right? Because ultimately his enemy is Satan, and ultimately Satan will come to this end that he's predicting.
Yeah.
So like you say, there's bits that are spot on. There are bits that are a bit waffly and a bit weird, but that's a bit I thought, yep, that's spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. Into 9. I know yours is probably a bit sooner than mine, but I've got more to say, so I'll spread it out a little bit. I love astrology. I love the stars. I love sort of all that stuff. Astronomy, sorry, not astrology, astronomy. I love it that much. I don't even know what the damn thing's called. Anyway, so in 9:9, I love a bit of 9:9, 8:8, etc. It has here, he is the maker of the Bear and Orion and the Pleiades, whatever, and the constellations of the south. What I love about it is how it's like, I mean, I have a friend actually who she trusts and relies and gets her like whatever predictions and stuff from the stars, and I'm like, or you could put it in the guy who made the stars, who like spoke like, it's like saying, oh, I trust the instruction manual. Nah, trust the bloke that made the car, trust the
agreed.
But they're the same constellations that we even call them, like Orion. Everyone knows Orion and Orion's belt, and in other places it mentions Orion's belt. And I'm like, it's the same thing in the Bible as we see in that sky tonight, and that is just frigging cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. And it gave me a thought. Maybe one of the reasons why God hates divination is because it is putting faith in something he made, but not faith in him.
Yeah,
that's actually I've never thought of it like that. But when you said that, I was like, could be a big part.
Yeah.
I got two things in Job 9. So Job 9:3, they wished to dispute with him. They could not answer him one time out of 1,000. So the fact that Job has this idea that he understands he's not in a position to question God is really good. Mm-hmm. But then the fact, though, that he says, I am blameless, back forwards in Job 9:21, is a big problem as far as I can see, right?
Yeah.
He should not be thinking that he's blameless. He should be understanding that he has blame. And sorry about the camera there for a second.
Good.
And he's not in a position to question God, but he does have, he hasn't got it right about himself, basically.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. I like it. Couple of things that I pulled out from 9. It was chatting. First, it was all like, I don't believe he would give me a hearing. He would crush me with a storm. That's in 9:16-17. He'd like multiply my wounds for no reason. Then later on in 33, he's saying, if only there was someone to arbitrate between us, to lay a hand on us both. I'm like, Jesus. Like, he's literally been like, if only there was someone to stand in the gap. And it's like, God doesn't do the whole like, oh, he would multiply my wounds for no reason. That's not God. But if only there was someone, and I just love the difference in that. Honestly, the little piece that I had out of Job 10, I'll throw into tomorrow. So tomorrow's readings are going to be Job 10, well, because we haven't done it today, but 11, 12, 13. So why don't you beautiful people pick up your Bibles, get reading.
In the meantime, please consider joining us on social media at 2 Brits and a Bible. And hey, share this with someone to help spread the word of God.